So despite having been in the streaming industry for over 10 years now, both myself and Lewis here on the content team at XSplit realized that a very small portion of that was actually as a traditional streamer. So we wanted to make a video where we discussed potential jobs and career paths that you could have using the skills that you developed being a streamer. So let's get into it. So first up, we want to talk being a technical director. By learning how to produce your own live streams, you're kind of learning how to produce other people's live streams. From getting the right gear, from setting up all that gear, from getting all of the gear to work together to make a stream. Everything coming together to getting you going live online is something that you could use to produce other people's streams. So if you've enjoyed kind of a technical aspects, if you've spent time looking at software, so for example, like using split mode in XSplit Broadcaster, using the projector in XSplit Broadcaster, those are things that I know I've used because I've produced and still do actually live streams for other companies. Learning the software and kind of, we've all got that habit of leveling up our gear, right? It's something we're super into. Now, leveling up that gear, learning how to use lights, learning how to use cameras, learning how your computer works. Like I learned how to put together a computer for a company I was working for because we wanted to make a live streaming department. All of that knowledge is useful because then when something breaks on a production, you've got more of an idea of what might have broke, you know? Now, the technical director is directly responsible for the stream working and going live. They're responsible for the equipment and they're responsible for sitting there and switching the scenes and making all the camera cuts while you're live. So learning how to use the software you're using at the moment, like XSplit Broadcaster, how to get the most out of it, you're developing those skills already. You're already getting there. So if you enjoy that, definitely look into being a technical director because it's something that can be a very valid career path, particularly at the moment. Esports is huge, but esports isn't the only thing doing streaming. There are a lot of companies that are getting into Twitch, that are getting into streaming to YouTube and Facebook and everything. And those skills can just develop and you can do bigger and bigger productions. Like I know me and Lewis, we've worked at places like Evo, running stages and stuff like that. So it just gets bigger and bigger over time. So definitely look into that if the technical side of production is something you find interesting. Now, if you're someone who has been getting sponsorships, working with brands successfully over the years, you're looking at influencer manager jobs in your future, potentially, if you want to go that way. You're learning the skills that you can then help other companies do. So an influencer manager would know the best ways for a company to utilize a streamer. They would know the best ways for the streamers to report back to the companies and let them know everything that they've been doing, something you've potentially already been doing. Now, this is a relatively new industry, so networking is something you want to do, but knowing how to work with streamers, knowing how streamers can best be activated for brands, for companies, that's huge, and it's an industry that's just growing and growing. So if it's something you're doing already, you are already developing those skills. You already know your worth, therefore you could translate to what the worth of other streamers are and report that back to companies and let them know, like, hey, you want to work with this person's great, etc., etc. Now, I usually see this pop up in a number of ways. You have a streamer manager, which is like someone that just works with one specific streamer, taking care of everything to do with their brand deals, when they're going live, all that stuff. There are influencer managers that have like their own company and their own pool of streamers that they work with, and they tend to work freelance between other companies, or there are full companies that do this as part, like PR companies tend to have an influencer manager. Game developers tend to have an influencer manager now. Like on the publisher side, they will tend to have an influencer manager now because they can help hook everything up with the games that they're putting out. It's part of marketing and PR now. Again, as I said, it's a new part of the industry. So it's definitely something you want to look into, but these skills you're developing, they're already going to help. So as streaming grows, today's users are going to be tomorrow's product developers? Is there a particular microphone you're using and you're thinking, if this interface just had this one feature, or if the bit of software you're using, you're thinking, oh man, let me tell you, this is what I would do with this. That's the kind of thinking that could get you working with that company. I know Lewis, for example, he said he reached out to get a customer support job at XSplit. And that was off the back of the fact that he'd been using XSplit Broadcaster for like a few years before that. I know for me, I started working with XSplit Broadcaster because I hosted some stages for them, but I was already using the software. So I already knew all about it. So when it came to more jobs coming up that were more on the marketing and content side of things, I already had that knowledge. And I already had that knowledge of what people that stream want to know about, what they want to hear about. So using that knowledge to get into streaming companies can be helpful. Like, it also, if you're sitting here building computers, using all this tech every day, and you have the knowledge and opinions, reach out to those companies. That, honestly, the amount of people that I know that got jobs in the streaming industry early just via reaching out, just via coming up and being like, hey, I'm a content creator, but look, I've known community managers who've got jobs that way. I already manage my own community. And look, this is the community I have. This is what I've done. This is how I've grown it. And I think we could translate this to your company. That's huge. I know for me, like getting in on the marketing side of things, knowing this kind of stuff and working for lots of different companies before you work for the streaming company, that's kind of huge. Hopefully, this has given you a taste of the kind of jobs you could get with the skills you already have in streaming. And like I said, you don't even necessarily need to translate these skills to the streaming industry. They can go into gaming very easily, like in marketing and PR in gaming. There's a lot of stuff there, but that's just the world I'm in. There's all sorts of technical stuff that this could translate to very easily. Like if you're developing tech that, like, you're working on the plugins and stuff that work with XSplit Broadcaster, that's programming knowledge. That's all sorts of good stuff. So keep an eye out for these sort of positions as they come up. But hopefully that gave you a taste of the kind of stuff that's available out there using the skills you've got. Thank you very much for watching this video. Do share it around if you've enjoyed it. Be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more stuff like this, because we got stuff coming out all the time and we are looking to help streamers level up as they go along. I know everyone says level up. But you hear level up a million times. But it's because we're in the gaming industry and we like saying stuff like that. Well, what can I say? For now, though, take care of yourselves and we'll see you very soon.